people have been asking me, to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie, why? I'm better than you. My eyes are red, out in the back smoking a joint with their gang.
How awesome it is! How awesome it is to be back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your boy Stevie Jobber,
and it's your boy Dangerous Duke.
And welcome back to the Dangerous Jobbers podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
Yes, sir.
And we had a very big weekend for AEW and New Japan, and some brand new things are being announced and some brand new news has come out. Some of it we know, but I am going to get through all of it. And then I'm going to hand it to Duke, and we're going to do predictions for Money in the Bank and close the show.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not familiar with us, and you know we're about, I know we've only been here for about 15 seconds, but if you're interested, if you're already like, there's something about these two guys, maybe hit the like button. And you know what? We'll talk about subscribing and all that other stuff later. But for now, if you're here and you're interested, hit the like button, man. We're gonna start with AEW. This past weekend, we had Forbidden Door, AEW versus New Japan for the first time ever, for the only time of the year. No, but they clashed with New Japan, and they had what social media is calling one of the best booking nights of the year. There is a lot on the card, which I think could attribute to that. And some of these, I will admit, even though they seem to come out of nowhere towards the end, they put together a fantastic card. But because there's so much on the card, I figure we can get through all of it playing a brand new game that I'm going to introduce to Duke live right now. It's called Pass or Play. It is conceptually what happens after you hit the button in Family Feud and you get the right answer. Do you want to pass or play? This is how we're going to do it. I am going to tell you the match. I'm going to run down the match card. You will hear the match. You will tell me if you care about it or you don't care about it in the most polite way possible. That being, I will pass or I will play. You hit play, we talk about it. You hit pass, we will move right on to the next match. And there will be no hard feelings.
I got to be the bad guy here. Okay.
I mean, you don't have to.
It's okay.
But it might work faster that way, you know?
Okay. You know what?
All right.
I'm ready for this game.
All right. So, first match, pass or play, Serpentico versus Kyle Fletcher.
I'm going to pass, Steve.
Okay. All right. First pass of the game. Fatal four-way tag match. House of Black with Brody King and Malachi Black. Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii. Private Party. And Gabe Kidd and Roderick Strong.
You know what?
Be honest. I mean, don't lie to yourself.
I'm gonna pass on this one too.
All right, great win for House of Black. Pass. I feel like I would have more bad things to say than good things, and I'll leave it at that. Willow Nightingale, former TBS Women's Champion, in the 0 Hour with Tama Nakano and Chris Statlander versus Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe.
You know what? I feel like we were sensing a theme at this point, but I'm gonna say play.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. Let's press play. What are your feelings on Willow and Chris Stat's story being relegated to the 0 Hour?
That is why I wanted to hit play, because I've actually enjoyed their story. I kind of dig the whole dynamic of it, because this is the one with Stokely Hathaway, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, and Stokely's been killing it, just being the mouthpiece for Statlander. So I was kind of upset that this got pushed to their pre-show, their 0 hour, whatever you want to call it. But again, given that it's a New Japan show and you got to have a lot of people and figure out where to place them, I get it. But still, for one of the more entertaining things AEW's been doing, kind of upset that it hit the 0 hour.
Yeah, it is a little disappointing. Nightingale and Nakano win. I think Bleacher Report gave it a B. Not that it matters. I wish they'd have got a little more time, but I understand with some of these stories, there's just no way to incorporate New Japan correctly and make it work and make it not seem more the main card.
That's kind of the bad thing. That's probably like the only negative about doing a double show is that you got to figure out how to place everybody. So.
Yeah, and when your shows aren't really focused on writing, I mean, it's hard. So next match, the other tournament going on, the Owen Hart Women's Tournament quarterfinal, Maria May, backed by Toni Storm against Saraya. Pass or play?
Play.
What are your thoughts?
Again, I mean, Saraya on a pre-show, it's still, again, it's hard to place people, but I kind of get it. And Mariah May is sort of just the backseat for Toni Storm. So, dude, I'm just like, it's hard to place these people, and it bothers me. Like AEW's got so many people that you really can't place. So that's where I'm at on it. It's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll have a talk at another time. I was just talking to our good friend Reckless about some of the frustrations with Triple H losing people to the cracks, and the people that are still left in limbo, though they're much more far and few between now. And I feel like maybe we give Hunter a little bit of a break, considering how many people are high profile doing relatively nothing at the expense of whoever they deem hot at the time. Not to say Maria May isn't on a great path, talking about the ending, if we choose to pass or play on that later. But it is weird to see Saraya in such a Natalia-esque role. It is weird. It is weird. You wonder how these people, I don't know. Next match, we have the trios match of the Lucha Bros and Mystico, formerly Sin Cara, against Yoro Tutsi, Titan, and Hiromu Takahashi. Pass or play? This was the main event, I believe, of the 0 hour.
Yeah, and it's a shame too, because I like these. I like Hiromu Tanahashi. I really do. But because of Mystico, I'm gonna pass.
Because of Mystico. All right, yeah. More
strictly because of Mystico.
Yeah, I mean, I'll leave it at that. I think we'll cap that off by saying apparently AEW and CMLL and all the other organizations outside of TNA and MLW, basically, that are kind of relative names, are now all going to be at the Tokyo Dome in a Wrestling Dynasty pay-per-view. So that'll be very interesting, and I'm sure, I don't know, I'm sure super matches will be made. Probably. I can't say anything about the stories, but I'm sure they'll make a lot of interesting super matches. So great for them. Are you ready for the main card?
Bring it on.
This is where pass and play gets serious. MJF versus
play.
Hikansero.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Versus Hikansero.
Okay,
Pass
play.
or play? We are playing. What are your feelings on MJF and Hikaru?
The opening match. Really? MJF is opening the show. This is where we're at. And against who?
Hikaru.
He might be big.
Hikaru?
He might be big in CMLL, but he's not a. I don't think anybody here knew who he was. I can tell you didn't know who he was completely because you can't pronounce his name right. I'm Hispanic and I can't pronounce his name right. This is what we relegate MJF to. That's where I'm at. And then we only give MJF like 10 minutes, really. That's where I'm at. I mean, I didn't mean to rip the main card or the first match on the card, but go ahead. You want to give your thoughts? Did I miss something?
I mean, for the record, because it's where the best wrestle, Hikaru was really good. That being said, yeah, I mean, this was a very, and MD. I give a lot of credit to MJF because you do have to carry this like it is bigger than it is, right? In reality, this is a first match back for MJF to get a good babyface win kind of deal. And it's really just doing business, right? But he chose a guy he could put over because I don't think Hikaru was huge in AAA or CMLL. I could be wrong, but it didn't seem like he had a huge following going into this. So and he has a great concept. I do love luchadors that have I love pro wrestlers that have a moveset that accompanies their mystique or whatever. And his whole gimmick is to be able to make moves out of thin air, so to speak. And he did a great job. That being said, yeah, MJF got a guy that nobody knew to open up the show to get a clean win and have nothing else to do for the rest of the night. That is weird. That is weird. I mean, and it was for anybody that wants to kill me about how great of a match it was and blah, blah, blah. And I know a lot of the diehard AEW fans are doing it for the matches and they don't consider the stories to be that bad. All I'm saying is it is weird. It is weird that he wasn't positioned a little more high profile for this. That's all there is to say. Next, the Acclaimed and Hiroshi Tanahashi, versus the Bucks and Kazuchika Okada. I cannot talk today. The Acclaimed and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Bucks and Okada, or the Elite. To keep it short, pass or play? Because I'm not even gonna. Yeah, pass or play.
You know what? I love the Acclaimed. I love Okada. I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, That's why I didn't have a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Bucks. It's an Elite match. You know, it's the Elite do what the Elite do.
Yeah,
we know what they do. We just pass.
We'll pass. Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. Pass or play for the quarterfinal of the Owen Hart family. I forgot.
You know what?
The tournament.
Let's hit play.
Feelings.
I like the match. It was a decent match. My only thing is we need Danielson. There's got to be an end result paying off with this as far as Danielson goes because time is limited. So I hope he's either winning this cup or he gets a big payout before he goes. because he's
You
only
just
got
want
limited.
to you just want to feel validated, like you
Yes,
fought
yes,
for something at the end of the day.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
hoping that's what this means.
I kind of feel that way. I don't know. Part of me is like, I don't care because he doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel that way. I could say that about a few people that I feel like deserve better and just aren't pushing themselves to want more. But imagine just being in the second prime of your life and wanting nothing out of it, but to have the experience.
Yeah,
I
but I
can't put
still
too
care.
much on them, but as a fan, I also like, you're in the prime of your life. Can we give you something to commemorate
Yeah.
this moment in time? Like, you were the best Daniel Bryan you've ever been, the best Bryan Danielson you've ever been. It is weird.
Mm-hmm.
It is weird. But next he's got Pac, I believe. Um and that should be another amazing moment. But again, Pac is probably another guy I could say that to. Because the last thing he won was like the trios titles, I believe. And
Mm-hmm.
Pac has been Pac for since he left, really. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have a separate pod about some guys that we just feel like should be getting more.
Mm-hmm.
But again, brilliant match. Danielson never fails. I mean, he goes out there and he's the American Dragon, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's seeing a living legend. Next match, a little more on it, a little more story, a little more excitement. The AEW Women's Championship. Mina Shirakawa, I want to say that right, versus Timeless Tony Storm, and they've been having, like you said, probably one of the bigger stories with Maria May involved in the middle, and Shirakawa being, I believe, the what is it, the Stardom champion, not the actual Stardom champion, but the artist of Stardom champion, going up against Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. And yeah, pass or play.
You know what? Just because we got a lot of stuff to get through.
Mm.
Granted, they have been having some good stuff going, but I'm gonna pass on this.
I think they did a phenomenal job, and I'm sure you saw that kiss scene there at the end, and they seem to be all buddy buddy, and them as a
Yeah,
trios thing is just contribute. I just think it contributes to the massive success of Tony Storm's new gimmick.
yeah, but I'm just gonna say pass because I feel like that's what most people are gonna be stuck on, and that's what most people focused on is that kiss at the end. So just for all of us' sake, I'm just gonna say pass.
Totally understand. Next match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Pass or play.
I'm gonna pass this one. I mean, we look. There's a lot of matches, so
Okay.
I'm trying to like pick my battles here.
I got you.
So we're gonna pass.
All right. Well, Sabre won. He said in an interview after that anybody not considering Orange Cassidy a serious competitor is an idiot. And I absolutely agree with him. And I think, for what it's worth, this was a sleeper. One of the, well, I mean, it kind of, it gets old, but the stigma of AEW is that every match is probably the best match of the night, which is so corny. So now you got to look. Now I look for the different clashes and styles that I really, really have never seen and am not anticipating the results of. And that for me is one of those lightning in a bottle ones that are still left. That was still left on the bingo card that nobody had gotten to yet. That being said, it was just a great match. So I don't have a lot to comment on the impact or whatever story or lack thereof there may have been, but just I do love those two, and I do love that they put that together for whatever credit I can give Tony on his booking. Trios match: Samoa Joe, Hook, Shibata versus the Learning Tree. Newly added Jeff Cobb, Big Bill, and Chris Jericho, the FTW champion.
Now you know
Pass or
what.
play.
Um.
Now you better press play on this. You better. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
You gotta press play on this.
As you know what it is. It's the trios matches that kind of get me to where it's like I want to pass them, but I can't pass Hook and Joe, so we're gonna have to press play.
Yeah. If anything, I just want to speak to how great Joe has been with bringing the comedic side out of Shibata and Hook in this kind of new way. Like, these are the things I wish we'd have seen Taz do with Hook, and Joe being like the closest thing to Taz, and feeling like an uncle, and just the backstage jumping vignettes that they've been doing. And then adding Jeff Cobb at the end, which I feel like definitely was probably just because of New Japan, but Jeff Cobb and Big Bill. I just feel like the stuff with Joe has been great. So I just want to speak to that. The match aside, we're still in that weird vortex of Chris Jericho and, people telling him to retire, and how much of that is a gimmick now versus how much of that is reality. But if I was to shine the silver light, it would be the stuff with Joe and Hook.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it makes a better Hook.
It does, and I kind of like their dynamic of him being not the teacher to Hook, but just almost the wise man. If that's like not trying to dig too much.
Yeah, if I could appeal to whatever anime fans we have, if you could just be like Uncle Iroh to
yes, okay, I understood that reference.
Just be, not involved, but
there
to just, you might want to do it this way.
Yeah, yes.
You're your own man, but if I was to do it, you know what I mean?
And I don't follow too much anime, but I understood the Uncle Iroh reference. Yes, that he is an Uncle Iroh.
So that's where we're at on that. The ladder match to crown the new TNT champion. The participants: El Phantasmo, returning Leo Rush, who I also saw a thing about could possibly have been injured after this match, and I don't want to get into that. Dante Martin, and the ROH World Champion Mark Briscoe, Takashi. I feel like I said Takashi. And surprise, surprise, the winner, Scapegoat Jack Perry, crowned your new TNT champion. Pass or play, Duke?
You know what? I hate Jack Perry, so we're gonna hit play.
All right.
And I'm only hitting play just so I can say this. Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry. the same way Chicken said it, the same way Mark Briscoe said it. But I mean, we all knew this was coming.
This was gonna happen.
We knew this was gonna happen. Cool to see Leo Rush.
Yeah.
A shame he got hurt. Allegedly.
Always is.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. That's the only thing I'm gonna hit play on. We knew this was gonna happen. Nothing special.
I almost felt like it'd be better if he gave him the belt, goddamn it. But I mean, at least we got a ladder match out of it.
Yeah. At least we got a ladder.
Title for title. Mercedes Moné, the TBS World Champion, goes up against the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, Stephanie. I do not even want to mess up her last name, but I don't think I got it. But
it's okay. Mercedes versus Steph.
Mercedes versus Steph. Mercedes Moné wins. She's now dually the TBS and New Japan Strong Women's World Champion. I have two things to point out about that. And then I think we have to hit play because there's news after it.
Yeah, so
My two things out the gate is that Mercedes is now, but she won. So she's now TBS and New Japan Strong Women's Champion, which proves that if you follow your dreams hard enough and call all your shots and, you know, work your way into being in creative and really take advantage of every opportunity, you too can become queen of the mid card. The second thing is Mercedes after this decided to let us know that, hey, I have creative control, but I do work with Tony, basically saying something we already knew. So let's speak to that, and then we'll get to the big news after.
You are the Hulk Hogan of AEW and WCW. Congratulations. You are the mid-card Hulk Hogan.
Oh, man.
You have creative control, but you're working with Bischoff. Yeah, that just means you're telling Bischoff what you want, and that's all.
I mean, like, and also, like, who cares, bro? Like, I was so...
It is 2024. You are not Sasha Banks. What have you done to make us care?
I don't know, man. I just, is it getting old for anyone else? Like,
what is
something about it? She's still Sasha Banks, and you know, there was this whole thing afterwards. I'm sure she did like all these press about, you know, being so anti WWE and whatever.
Look here, I will liken this. Mercedes Moné is the the wrestling equivalent of DeMar DeRozan to the NBA. She's not hitting threes. She's not hitting anything close. Everything she's doing is from the mid-range. Everything Mercedes is doing is mid. So everything is from the Mercedes Moné. Everything is from the mid-range.
Oh, that's the name of this clip.
So
Mercedes Moné.
Now, with that being said, everything Mercedes is doing is mid. What happened after the match wasn't mid, so let's hit play on that.
Let's talk about the.
Let's hit play on that.
I will lead positively, and I will give it a good rollout, and I'm gonna tear it up at the end because there were some mistakes made here. After the match, after the result, we all knew was going to happen. Way to make the New Japan Strong title relevant. Mercedes Moné celebrating dual champion, and this new music hits, and this new sit graphic, and this new AEW style Titantron, and you know, the fireworks, and I almost couldn't really see who it was at first because they had the fireworks a little too soon, I think. But we get the return of Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And it was spectacular. She got an amazing pop. It looked great. I did see the role model at the top of one of her things. I don't know if you can legally, I don't know if that's trademark. It's trademark, guys. But it was great. It was fantastic. Duke, give me your positive thoughts.
Look, I mean, Britt Baker has been the whatever you want to call her, the MJF, the Moxley, the whatever you want to compare her to of the women's division of AEW. She has been their backbone. She has been their star. And the return, she looked good. Like I don't mean good in a pretty way, but good as in like the return looked good for her. The people were obviously excited for it. I know I was. I'm waiting to see what they can do with Britt going forward with all these other women with a Mercedes to try to, raise her, because she's still mid with a Willow Nightingale, with a timeless Tony Storm. She can do some great stuff. Britt can do some things, and she can elevate some people. If anybody can raise any woman's stock in that division, it's definitely Britt. So I mean, I'm eager to see what can happen, and I'm glad she's back, because I ain't gonna lie, part of me kind of did miss seeing Dr. Britt Baker on TV.
I'll tell you it like this. While I respect that, some of these people that had muscle eventually, after a lot of success, took the back seat to try and elevate the other talent. I get that's what they're doing with Maria May. That's what she had to do with Jamie Hayter when it was time. But I'll liken her return to that weird point in time in the 2010s where Seth was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to make him the new CM Punk, and we hated him. And, he was not everyone had great things to say. Bret Hart was spitting on his name. But when it was time for him to come back and we heard his music hit, we all realized the hole that was left when Seth Rollins left, and we were all so happy to have that back. Like, this is the excitement we were missing. This was the guy that was holding it up. There's always a hole when the guy that's really doing all of the elevating is not there. And she is that for the women's division.
Mm-hmm.
When there's nothing else, much like MJF, if there's anything to really care about, it's whatever Britt Baker's doing. Jade had that effect, and they're trying to, I guess they thought they were going to swap that out with Mercedes Moné, but clearly not, because just like Dean when AJ came to SmackDown, I think the real face has arrived, and they're probably going to put the title on who's going to make the title better.
Mm-hmm.
Because, oh my gosh, the things Britt Baker could do.
Yes.
So that is one of the very, very high positives I have for the night, is the return of Britt Baker. Thank goodness, even though I think the roster is far too deep for AEW, this is much needed to put things back into place. I believe somebody with ideas, somebody with a lot of credibility, somebody that knows how to make the system work. It's a relief. I was not excited for whatever Mercedes Moné had next. I will definitely tell you that.
Yeah.
Especially because they ended the thing with her with Willow so fast to get to the Statlanders down. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I don't know what Moxley's going to be doing lately, because the next match was for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Jon Moxley and Tetsuya Naito. And Moxley loses to Naito at Forbidden Door. Tetsuya Naito is the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, I believe, for the second time or the first time.
Naito the second time, I believe.
Second time, I believe, right? Which is crazy to say. I always felt like Naito probably needed to be the face of New Japan solely for a minute, and they just haven't been giving him the ball and letting him really run with it, because there were so many big names at the time, but now I feel like everyone's kind of defecting. So thank you. Put it back on Naito. It was cool that they gave it to Sonata, but it should probably be on Naito now that Okada's not there and Tanahashi's running the place. Like, give it to Naito. He's the only one that's been there through all these other crazy faces that have just decided to leave. Pass or play, that being said.
Honestly, I'm going to have to pass on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't what I thought it would be. I expected this match to be a little bit better, but it felt kind of like awkward at times.
That has been the general consensus.
So I mean, and then plus, Moxley was never going to hold the belt for a ridiculous amount of time. It's got to go back to Japan at some point. So
Yeah, I think we all
yeah, we're gonna pass.
And then the main event, we are here. Shane Swerve Strickland, versus Will Ospreay, the indie match of the century, I guess. They've been doing this together for a really long time. And tonight they put whatever spot Will Ospreay could have been defending his title at to the side to give him a shot at Swerve Strickland right out of the gate. That being said, time and place, they put on a spectacle, pass or play on the main event.
No, I'm joking. We're gonna play. We gotta play this.
You gotta play the main event.
But like you said, any other spot where Ospreay could have been defending his title against somebody, they gave him Swerve, but still, it's like the same thing with Mark Briscoe. You didn't need to put him in the ladder match. You could have put him on the card, had him defend the ROH title, but
against Hikansero, maybe.
Anyway, you never know. But no, this was a great match. I mean, this match did what it was supposed to do. I enjoyed it. And then the story they've been telling with trying to attack each other and everything else, just not having a single good thing to say. This was probably one of their better built title matches that they've done in the last few months, in my humble opinion. And Swerve still trying to prove that he's one of the best out there that can do it and be a leading guy. Ospreay, we know, top 2 in the world right now, doing what he's doing, and he's never going to put on a low quality performance. And he's trying to prove some people wrong too, believe it or not. So I feel like this match was well worth the investment that was put into it. I think they did a phenomenal job, and they had one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, I think they definitely left it all out there. I think they had a fantastic night. There's a problem I have with the build-up. I think they did everything beautifully. I think it was probably just Swerve and Ospreay, because they've done this before, because they have so much history, because they're friends. There was already a story built in pretty much, and I hate it because they could have really drawn that story out considering how deep it is. But they rushed it, but they did a great job. They put the match together amazingly, which after all these years, you kind of knew that they would.
I feel like they kind of needed.
Yeah. And Swerve needed a great win against somebody that was one of them.
Yeah, like as formidable.
I feel like Swerve really needed that for validation, even though he's been a world champion before. It had just been so long that people maybe have forgotten, and you needed one of those big wins to be considered really, really one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. To, I don't know, it just felt like a glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Like he broke through another one of those barriers you're supposed to go through as a world champion, as a new world champion, on a huge stage. That being said, I want to point something out. Just somewhere in the rollout, there's the only problem I've been having with Forbidden Door, because we're getting off of it, is that there's just certain points that I don't feel like they use the people, the debuts, the returns in all the right ways. Britt Baker coming out at the end of Mercedes' win was great, but the fact that she came out there, she didn't walk down the ramp, she turned back and went back in, and then they proceeded with the show without fading to black, they kind of just started moving to the next thing. Weird, man. Like not a great way to move through the show like that. There's supposed to be a better finish than that. And I will say this as well. I woke up to the news that, and this is me not paying attention. I'm sorry, but I woke up to the, and this is why I have a problem with it. I woke up seeing that on Collision, our boy the judge, uh, EJ, had debuted with Swerve as part of his group.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, except for the fact that he didn't have a match. He wasn't formally introduced. He was just part of the entourage.
Yeah, I mean that's something they got to get better at, and I feel
like, but this is the thing though. Like, we have to plan. Like, it used to be so big for people to arrive, right? And now
mm-hmm.
you have people that can actually be brand new on a big stage and still get a Jacob Fatu like pop. Clearly, you have one of those eras of MLW guys. There's a certain crop of them. It was Fatu, it was MJF, it was Hammerstone, it was the Judge, and it's Tank. The Tank really hasn't gotten one of those big main event shots, but those are the guy, and Myron Reed, who's still kind of breaking in and out of TNA. But he's a certain crop of guy, and he looked jacked and amazing, and people had a very big pop for him on socials, but you didn't even, he just showed up there. Like, why couldn't he have been the reason Osprey lost? Why couldn't
Yeah.
he have debuted the night after Osprey? Why couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't he have a role where people could be like, oh, he's a wrestler, instead of he's just some big dude we don't know about yet? Like, it's weird to me.
I would only say my thought process or my like hope would be that maybe they try to build him into something else, like maybe like use him as just the big guy for now, and then maybe like a Wardlow type build or like a Batista Evolution type build. Maybe you could do something like that, but it's got to be done right, and you can't milk it, like play it out for so long. Just build it and try to put a little bit of traction on it, but make it worth it. Make it worth it.
Yeah, if you're gonna go about it that way. I hope so. Because it's already weird that he lost the embassy. So I just hope, some of these guys, not every wingman gets his day.
No.
And it's clear they haven't really perfected the angle over there. So I don't know, some of the little things, now that I'm such a old head wrestling fan, it just bugs me. And it only bugged me because I saw the pop on the internet. So it was like, man, you had money. And you didn't even milk it. You just kind of threw him out there. But that being said, that is our Forbidden Door pass and play. I felt like they did really well, but some of the things were less investing than others. I won't give it a grade because I would have to have, you'd have to start and watch the entire show. I did not do that.
You got to take like 20 matches into account when you give this whole card a grade, and that's just too many matches.
So I'm not about to do that. But what was good was good. I felt like they had some great matches, and I felt like they had a great return. I just felt like, I don't know, maybe I had to change a few things, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But let's toss it over to where the big boys play over in WWE. Duke, tell me about the predictions for Money in the Bank. Maybe we'll have different ones again this time.
Yeah, man. So Money in the Bank, obviously we know July 6th, exclusively on Peacock. Cheap plug there. And not a lot of matches, but some very important matches. So the first match we're going to go down is the men's Money in the Bank ladder match featuring Jey Uso, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Chad Gable, LA Knight, and one person to be named as we're recording this. And in that match, it is Ilya Dragunov, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. So, Stevie, who do you think takes that last spot? And who do you think wins this Money in the Bank men's ladder match?
I want to say Drew wins.
Oh, so you think
the
Drew gets
qualifier?
Okay.
Only
Drew
because I think CM Punk could then stop him from winning the Money in the Bank match. I don't know. I just because we're only so far from SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And you just beat him up and took his, you've been on the internet with the John, and I feel like it's got to be Drew. And Drew can't win at Money in the Bank. That's like CM Punk's whole pay-per-view. So he's gonna win. He's gonna stop him from winning.
Mm-hmm.
The vote's out on Chatty because I think he might still sort of be involved with some Wyatt Six strays. I don't know if they have a thing about him yet or not, but I just don't feel safe putting my bet on Chad. LA Knight, I can't see. I don't know, man. I want to say LA Knight because it'd be so much easier for LA Knight to just come in and do a cash-in win. He doesn't even really feel like a guy that needs a world championship story. He seems like the kind of guy where everyone just wants him to win so bad that you can kind of end one guy's reign just as LA Knight is about to, That being said, there's also Carmelo Hayes. He's not getting it. Sorry, you're young, you're hungry, and you talk a lot, but you're like early form Austin Theory right now. You're just like a guy who was really good where he was. And there's nothing really else about that right now. He's not there. I would doubt they would give it to Andrade, but how amazing would that be? But I just don't see it. But I have been wrong. I was wrong about who was going to win that NXT North American Women's Ladder match. So I could be wrong about this.
So that kind of leaves you with one name.
And this is the thing that made me laugh. I'll throw this out there for drop kicks and giggles. What if Jey Uso was to win? And then the bloodline was to win at the end of the night. And Jey was to come in and cash in on Cody and become the world champion.
Just piss off the whole bloodline, and Cody just piss off everyone. Like you just piss off everyone in one foul swoop.
Talk about the heist of the century, son.
Right? Like, I mean, it would get Jey back to SmackDown.
No, but what if he now that's Solo's problem. Now Solo has to deal with the guy that pinned Roman holding the world championship. The other guy that pinned Roman holding the world championship. That's blood now.
Mm-hmm.
What if he starts throwing them seeds with fight? I just think it'd be funny. That being said, who I think should win the Money in the Bank? I actually do think it should be Jey. I think Carmelo's not ready. I think Andrade's got no story. I think Chad's tied up in other things. LA Knight is just freed from other things, but he's the only other candidate, honestly. It's either LA Knight or Jey Uso. I'm going to put my money on Jey, though, just because I feel like he doesn't have a direction. If he doesn't have it, unless he turns on Sam, he doesn't have any other direction if he doesn't have the Money in the Bank. You can do things with LA Knight. Jey Uso kind of needs to be headed towards something.
Yeah, and that's where I was leaning to. Like I was thinking maybe Carmelo, but because of how you just said it, like he's like in that early Austin Theory stage where Theory had the briefcase, cashed in, didn't hit his shot. And then they could do the whole Melo don't miss thing. Melo came to the main roster, won the title or won the briefcase. Melo don't miss and run around with that. And then he could be the guy to miss his cash in. Melo missed now. But
because then you got a year of building up Carmelo. Because I don't know if is he going to be ready in a year? That's what you have to consider if he wins.
Yeah, and then usually everybody who wins the briefcase has some kind of moniker attached to it, like something in the bank. And LA Knight, it's kind of hard to attach something to that. Chad Gable, it's kind of hard. Either low in the bank, maybe, but Melo can't really tie nothing to. Jay, they've already kind of tied something to with the poster for Money in the Bank. And it's the money's crossed out and it's the yeet written across the briefcase, yeet in the bank, which doesn't really hit like
it doesn't track well, but it's
it's a thing. So I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to say Jay too. So I can agree with you there. Jay being the other winning the men's Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Is there anybody you wanted to win that's not Jay that you just want to win?
Probably LA Knight, but then again, that's what does LA Knight do with it for however long he's gonna hold it? Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't have him go after Cody because of the whole bloodline thing. That title is gonna be tied to the bloodline for the foreseeable future.
And is LA Knight beating Gunther?
Right? I mean, LA Knight's good, but he's not a.
You also have to imagine whoever wins this, if you're from Raw, which you're probably going to be, you have to be a world beater. And the only real world beater in there right now
is Jay. So, I mean, it's interesting. So I'm going to have to say Jay and agree with you.
Yeah. I want Chad to win, though. If I was to say who I wanted to win, I would say Chad.
Next, we have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which consists of Io Sky, Chelsea Green, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and one other person to be named.
Right. I believe that matches Ivy Nile,
Zoe Stark, and Dakota Kai. You know what? See, I want to say put Dakota in the match, but because last year we had 2 damage control winners, or we had 2 damage control participants, I don't want to do it again. And there's no Shayna Baszler in this match. So unfortunately, I'm gonna say Zoe Stark makes it in. And I'm torn between 2 people to win this. And I'm sorry.
I think everyone is.
As terrible as this may sound, give it to Chelsea Green.
I'm in a judgment free. This is a judgment free zone, man. Whoever you choose is non-biased. I think Dakota Kai should get the last spot, and that's bias. I'll be completely honest, but I mean, come on, man, give her a spot. I mean, just give her a spot to shine. Jesus. Yeah, Dakota Kai. I think should win that last spot. I think the winner is tied between 2 people, Chelsea Green and Tiffany Stratton, which is really Raw or SmackDown. So I guess at the end of the day, who's more likely to be cashed in on? Is it Liv Morgan or is it Bailey? Yeesh. I know the answer to that question.
Oh, man.
I didn't mean to do that. That was in real time. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know that was going to end like that.
Makes me wish I had a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, maybe I will make a bet on Prize Picks. I'm gonna go with Tiffany Stratton.
Okay.
So we have something different. So that we have something different being my reasoning. Not because of what we just talked about.
Okay.
Tiffany Stratton is gonna be my choice because he chose Chelsea Green. I would like for Chelsea Green to win. That would be fun. But I like it on Tiffany Stratton, especially thinking that Nia Jax might win at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's Chelsea would be fun. Chelsea would be fun.
Chelsea would be fun. Fantasy booking 9. Keep going.
All right, so the next match we have is for the World Heavyweight Championship with some caveats. Damian Priest versus Seth frickin' Rollins. If Priest wins, Rollins can never challenge for the world title as long as Priest is champion. And if Seth Rollins wins, Damian Priest has to leave the Judgment Day. Where's your head at?
Can I tell you? They got me. They got me because, and I hope it's not a Will Ospreay situation. I think that immediately resonates if you get what I'm talking about. But they did get me by putting Rollins in front of Priest for Money in the Bank, because even in the approach of like, you don't gotta ask, you don't gotta earn it, I want you one-on-one, and I kind of had the same reaction Seth had. Like, are you sure you want to do this? Because that's Seth Rollins right there. I don't think you really know what you're getting into. That being said, it's hard to vote against Seth. It's hard to vote against Seth. It is so hard to vote against Seth because it's Seth Rollins, man.
It is.
Like,
so look,
my wrestling brain is telling me, wrestling math tells me Damian Priest should win. But it could be Seth. All I know is ain't nobody holding that drum past SummerSlam.
Yeah, see, and that's where I'm at. It's like,
that's what makes it hard. Whoever it is a transitional champion.
We booked ourselves into a corner here, kind of, because it's like, all right, now we have Seth and Priest. Priest won at Mania. He got the big moment, the heist of the new heist of the century, if you want to say.
The heist of the century, yep.
The first Puerto Rican champion in like 50-something years.
Since Pedro.
And he hasn't had a bad run.
He hasn't.
He's had some quality matches. He's done good. You know, the match with Drew, the match with Jay. He had a couple good matches here as the champion. And he hasn't looked bad as the champion. He's looked quite formidable. And then you got Seth. You know, the way I'm looking at it is, who gives me the better match at SummerSlam with Gunther? And I'm leaning towards Seth. I think Seth gives me the better match. But I don't want Seth to be that transitional champion. Because if it's Seth, you can't have Seth lose the title the first defense. So, and there's so many ways you can book this with, you know, Judgment Day not being barred, or with Judgment Day barred from ringside. Carlito's technically not Judgment Day. There's so many ways you could book this. I'm gonna have to say Damian Priest wins at Money in the Bank and retains the title. And then that's when we start to worry about the reign coming to an end at SummerSlam.
Where am I at on this? To keep time, I know we got the IC match and we got the Bloodline match. So to keep time, I'll be short and sweet this time. I could see Rollins for business reasons. It's just a bigger match for SummerSlam if you go Rollins versus Gunther. That being said, though, I feel like it should be Damian, and I feel like the way that they're at odds with this whole Judgment Day angle, I kind of feel like maybe Liv could win it for him. Not of his planning, but of her own, probably.
Yeah.
Because not for nothing, she's not busy.
And she's not in the Judgment Day.
And Damian doesn't actually have a story. He just challenged Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. So you think about it, Damian's story is trying only to care about himself while his faction is falling apart due to the poison of Liv Morgan. And right under his nose, and nobody's handling it.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was to cause him to win or cause him to lose, I feel like the story's with Damian. So I think Damian.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know what will be next for Seth. I just do find it weird that they would bring Seth back. I don't know, because I don't know if he's here for a long time. I don't know if Seth goes away again after this.
I think he's here for a significant amount of time. I think he's
unless
done
he's
filming.
Unless he's also here for SummerSlam. You know what I mean? And then he's gonna actually take time off. But I don't know.
Because I remember he was filming for a movie, so I mean I'm pretty sure he's done filming.
Okay,
he was doing Captain America: New World Order.
Oh yeah, he is in that.
But
yeah. I'm putting it on Damian too. I'm putting it on Damian.
All right, so we're in agreement there. Next match we have IC title, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
Where's your money at?
It's interesting because it's actually not that interesting. I'm ready for Sami to let it. I'm ready for Sami to let it go. Put the title on Braun.
Transitional. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry, Sammy. I love you, but I expect Braun to break you in half.
Yeah, and I don't expect this to be very long. Maybe 7-8 minutes at the most.
There ain't a kick from hell you can put on this man. It's gonna keep him down.
Yeah, no. Easy Braun Breaker win.
Easy win. Easy money.
That was probably.
I mean, Sammy's gonna make it look great, but
yeah, Sammy can make a quick 8-minute match look great.
I just want Sammy to make it. Sammy, make it look like you were like when Nakamura debuted against you, and just give him a ragdoll of a show. Like, I don't want you to be like John Cena versus Brock, but be like, just be Sammy. Just sell really, really well, and
John versus Kevin.
Do your best underdog that can't make it match. You know what I'm saying? Just 7 minutes of, oh my God, what is this guy? And then miss a haluva kick right at the end and get speared out of your shoes, and
you know what?
Go down faithfully.
If I can get a little childish real quick, and then we move on to the next match.
Mm-hmm.
Give us 7 minutes in heaven, and then let Braun just take you straight to hell. Let's just do that. 7 minutes of heaven, and then Braun sends you straight to hell.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's the play.
And then main event time. Cody Rhodes with the not newly formed team, with the unlikely union of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the New Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, the MFT Tama Tonga Loa, and or, because I guess they don't know who the third man is going to be, the newly debuted Jacob Fatu. Where we at with this?
Moment of silence for Paul Heyman. It's moment of silence. Bloodline. Have you seen? Have you, they got this new guy. I don't know if you've seen him, but
He's kind of a werewolf.
He's a monster. Yeah, I don't know what
Look,
they're gonna do about that. I don't know what
yeah,
they're gonna do
I
about that one,
am.
boy.
You know
I don't know
what?
what they're gonna do about that one, boy. He's
I
a
feel like
monster, son. He's a monster.
here's what I'm thinking.
They gotta win. They can't
You,
lose. How do you
I'm.
lose with
I say
Jacob
you.
Fatu?
I say you can run this match twice. I say you could run this match twice. The first time you do it is the 6-man tag team match. But obviously, you know, there's a member of the bloodline out there who's not going to be in the match, but at ringside. Whoever that is helps the bloodline win, as he should. And then at SummerSlam, you get Fatu and Cody for the world title. And, you know, you can kind of do a repeat of WrestleMania in a sense. You know, one bloodline member comes out and then Kevin Owens will come out. Another bloodline member will come out. Randy will come out. Then Jacob comes out as the last bloodline member. And if we're trying to build this to WrestleMania, Jimmy comes out.
And then I think, yeah, let's leave it there. We got to tell the story slow.
Yeah, this is one of them slow burning stories. Every pay-per-view, a former ghost comes back until the big ghost comes in.
And then Trey, you know, all things got to happen at the Rumble because at least until Survivor Series, they can't have the
War
next
Games.
real Enter-brand joint until like Survivor Series.
Yeah, at War Games.
Yeah, War Games. Because they got to have built it then by War Games. Well, no, because forget it. It's gonna be the bloodline. Fatu is gonna wreck shop.
Yeah,
okay?
it's gonna be the bloodline.
He finna dog walk him.
I believe the 6-man team or the 3-man team for the bloodline is gonna be Solo, Tama Tonga, and Fatu.
You think Tonga Low gonna sit in the back?
I think you would have to. Otherwise, Jacob's gonna have, or not Jacob. Otherwise, Jacob's gonna have to sit in the back.
Nah, I think you're gonna send Jacob out there with the boys.
Oh, so you think Solo just sits back?
I think Solo sits back.
Oh.
I think Solo gonna deal the last blow at the end to make sure his boys go over. He gonna be that thorn in his side. He probably gonna hit him with that same spike in the corner. And when it looked like he might put away Fatu.
I mean, unless Jimmy comes back at SummerSlam, or not at SummerSlam, at Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah.
And then you could throw Jay in at some point in SummerSlam, and then Roman's on SmackDown already.
I don't know. It's just hard to see them losing. That's where I'm at on it.
Bloodline's not losing. Bloodline's not losing.
Okay.
No, I didn't mean like the Bloodline loses. I mean like Bloodline wins. Then after the match, after the match they whoop some ass again, and then we get Jimmy. You get Jimmy with like a steel pipe or a steel chair or something, and just
that's gonna be a weird one. That's gonna be a weird one. Oh,
you gotta incorporate him back soon.
Yeah. It's just gonna be an awkward little time where Jimmy has to rely on all the people he stabbed in the back.
Yeah.
Against the bloodline until Roman get there. Or Jay, or I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting build. But bloodline, yeah.
All right. So far, bloodline.
all the way.
We are in agreement on everything except for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So that's going to be our pick'em right there.
Oh yeah, Breaker, Priest, Jay.
Yeah, we just had
everything
a different
but the
woman.
women's. We had the split decision at the women.
It's a shame. That's going to be never mind. I was going to say that's going to be the match that we got to keep eyes on. But it's a Money in the Bank match. So
what do you think is going to be match of the night before we get out of here?
Match of the night for me, I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to give some, I'll go Damian and Seth. I'm going to give some credit to Damian and Seth.
I think they could be match of the night. I see it being the main event though, just because. And I don't normally pick the main event. I'm normally what's the sleeper match in the middle that is gonna take it, or what's the match with the best workers. So normally I would go with the match you pick, but I'm gonna say the Bloodline just for the cinema of it all. It's gonna be the first time I get to really see Solo in a cinema match, and like a match that's not a cinema match, and a match that's like
as a leading man
telling a story with like a Roman Reigns-esque outcome. Like, it's gonna be the first time I get to see him carry that kind of a weight, like, and you do that kind of a match.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting because Solo's first time as a leading man for a match, and then you got Fatu first match probably, and then you got Tongaloa probably his first match. Wait, will this be Tongaloa's first match on a pay-per-view?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because his debut was at a pay-per-view, so this will be his first match on a pay-per-view.
Right? Because then they had that. Wait, did they have that tag match?
No, that was Fatu and Tama.
Right. Yeah.
That was just a tag match.
Yeah. So yes, it'll probably be the first time. Yeah. Maybe you're right. Maybe it should be. Maybe they should have Tongaloa stay in the back. Well, not stay in the back, but on the side as the fourth man. Oh, what a moment, though! What a moment, and what players to be in there as the leader, as the youngest one, with two, because everyone else in this match is more experienced than you do.
Yes, everybody in that match has more seasoning on them except for you. Which
every one of them has been a world champion, probably. Well. Never champion for Tama, but all of them have been like world-renowned champions.
Yeah,
except for Solo. So Solo's gonna have to. The pressure really is on him.
But I'm interested. I am definitely intrigued. I have high hopes for Money in the Bank.
High hopes. That being said, wow, it has been a long time. Remember, I was going to say something about those subscriptions. I mean, listen, guys. I mean, it's been longer than we normally do this nowadays. And you're still here. You're still around. I'm sure you've liked the video, right? By now, it's been forever. You might as well subscribe at this point. We got you. I mean, we got you. It's been an hour. You
might as well.
We've had fun. You know, we had a good time.
And while you're at it, I was gonna say, and while you're at it, since you've already liked the video and you've already hit the subscribe button, might as well just check out them links and see what other stuff we got going on. Check us out on Spotify, on Apple Music, Google Podcasts. If you're here watching it on YouTube, click the link and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and all that other good stuff. You can even find us on TikTok and on the dangerousjobberswebsite.com if you're feeling just so inclined. But that is the Money in the Bank predictions and the Forbidden Door review. I have been Dangerous Duke.
I've been Stevie Jobber.
And this is the Dangerous Jobbers Podcast.
People have been asking me to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie, why?